Well, here we are again. This is Caleb Jones, and this is the Alpha Male 2.0 podcast, freedom-focused lifestyle design for men. And in this podcast, we're going to do another coaching call. Now, this one is focused purely on business. And the reason I selected this one is because it contains a lot of questions that I get asked by a lot of you in terms of setting up your own business, especially if you want to be your own consultant. So in this coaching call, I talked to Albert, who is setting up his own consultancy practice. He's trying to narrow down his niche and narrow down his marketable skills. And we make a lot of progress on that in this coaching call. And I know this will be helpful for you because I know I get a lot of questions that are either similar to or identical to questions that Albert asks me in this coaching call. So here we go. Okay, I am on the phone, and I call Skype the phone because I'm an old man. But I'm on the phone, quote unquote, on the Skype, quote unquote, with Albert in Poland. How are you?
Yeah, I'm cool. Fine. How are you?
I'm very good. Where are you in Poland? What city?
Krakow.
Oh, okay. Yes. And how old are you?
33.
33. Okay. And you wanted to talk about business items today. Is that correct?
Yeah, business items. I would like to discover my marketable skills.
Got it. Okay. And so briefly describe in general your current business scenario now. You are working at a job?
Yeah, I'm working in a corporate job. I'm in the position of engineering, and my company is in automotive industry.
And how long have you been at that job?
7, 8 years.
Oh, wow.
It's my first and only job.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. So you said you're 33?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were like, well, let's see, what were you? Early 20s?
Yeah, I started in 25 years old.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got it. All right. And what other materials have you read of mine or gone through of mine so far?
Yeah, I'm a regular reader of your blogs, both of them. I think I have read not all of your books, but maybe from business books I bought your consultant course and business course.
Got it. Okay. All right. So that means, did you get the add-on for the consultant course on going through your skill sets and things in the niche, not all that kind of stuff, or no?
Yes, I bought both.
Good. So you have a lot of raw material. Good. Okay, that's good. And my assumption is that you got to a certain point in there and then you got stuck, or am I incorrect?
No, I'm not stuck. It's just this task is not finished.
Got it. Okay. So do you have a university degree or no?
Yes.
Yes. And what is that in? Is that engineering?
It's electrical engineering.
Electrical engineering. Got it. Okay. All right. Well, go ahead and start. I'll probably interrupt you with questions as you go. But go ahead.
Okay. So my question is, what would be my marketable skills where I can find some overlaps with my current knowledge and skills, interests, talents to use it into my future business?
And you already understand that right off the bat, if you are an electrical engineer, or is that accurate for me to say you're an electrical engineer now? Is that accurate or not quite?
It was accurate for 6 years. I changed position, but it's very close to that. It's even more niched in that industry, in that field. So
engineering is a marketable skill, obviously, right? So you have one right there. That's an easy one.
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to unlock more skills, or are you trying to narrow down how your engineering skills will work, or both?
Yeah, how my engineering skills will work. And I have some plan in my head to do a consultant business inside that industry. But I would like to also find the other skills which will help me in that industry. I don't want to be exact consultant in industry, but maybe serving some laboratories in my industry.
Okay, as a what? Serving laboratories, what would be the benefit to the laboratory from your service, based on your idea right now?
This is something which I need to start looking for that, because I have a plan to do LinkedIn, not marketing, but a bunch of
networking.
Lab managers, yeah.
Yeah, good.
What is their problems?
Got it. So you need to do research on the niche of what the problem of the niche is.
Yeah.
And when you say laboratories, are you thinking just laboratories in general? Have you narrowed down the type of labs yet, or no?
I narrowed it down, but I don't want to reveal that.
Got it. Okay. So you have a type of niche that you're thinking of in terms of type of laboratory.
Yes, I can describe it in general.
Okay. Go ahead.
When you produce electronics, you need to fulfill a bunch of certification and so on.
Yes.
And this laboratory serves in one of the field which your device must work and be compliant with certain standards.
Are those industry standards or governmental standards or both?
Both. And even sometimes customers has.
Okay. All right. How do the labs in this area certify that? How do they solve that problem now? Do they use a third party to certify, or do they use internal auditors to certify? How do they do that, or do you know?
It's mixed. Sometimes they have a laboratory inside which is not certified. Then they will go to the outside. Sometimes they have their own laboratory which is certified.
Do you have to be certified to offer those services?
No.
Okay. So you can be uncertified, but you can go in as a private consultant and say these products, in terms of like a checklist, on governmental certifications, yes, no, yes. And in terms of industry certifications, yes, no, yes. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. And you're saying right now they have people do this. It's a mixed bag, you're saying. Sometimes they have internal employees do this within their own companies, and sometimes they don't?
No, maybe I wasn't precise. Okay. When you have company which produce electronics, they need to do certification. They can do this in-house. They can do this outside. Once again, they can do this inside. Then they have certification laboratory, or they can do this completely outside, in outside laboratories. And I think my goal is to not serve the in-house, but the outside companies. These companies can serve multiple companies.
So you want to be a consultant for the certification companies?
Yeah.
Got it. Now I understand. And what would be the service that you would provide for those certification companies?
I have two ideas. One, I'm not sure if I want to go there.
Okay.
Typically as a technical consultant who solves problems of going through certification. Either companies who run certification or the companies who want to be their devices to be certified. I'm not sure if this is good direction because many times I need to have measuring devices on my desk to help them solve technical problems. I would like to avoid that because it's not maneuverable.
Yes, and also they probably already have technicians on staff that do that.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so what was the second idea you had?
Second idea which I need to dig in is to somehow serve that niche.
I see.
So I need to find what is their problem. Maybe not technical problem, but something that my other skills can help them.
I understand, and I completely agree with you based on everything you just said. I think being a technical provider is generally not a great idea because you're shoving your billing rates down because you're competing against normal run-of-the-mill technicians. You want to solve bigger problems, so I agree. And I think the niche is good. This is a very good niche. Companies that do certifications in a particular niche within electronics or automotive, that's great. So the niche is very, very good. So that's the hardest part for most guys in your position is they can't figure out the niche. Sounds like you've got that narrowed down. You just don't know exactly what the problems are that niche need help with. Is that accurate so far?
Yeah, accurate. And maybe one idea on the side. There is a market on that consultant. I know several guys who are doing this. They are single, let's say, consultant. They have some small lab in their house, and they can consult other companies on both sides of certification.
Doing the technical work or doing more business advice, or both?
More technical, solving technical problems.
I see.
And I think somehow I also can serve them. Maybe not exactly the same things, but I see two spots where I can.
If you served them, it would be more coaching than consulting, because these are probably independent operators, correct? Without companies or employees, right? Which is fine. That's fine. There are coaches who make a lot of money, and you'll be very niched. You'll be an extremely niched coach. So that's fine too. There's coaching and consulting are both valid. My overall advice, however, is to always focus when you're starting from scratch, focus on one of those two and add the second one later.
Uh-huh.
So one of the decisions you're going to have to make is which one do you do first and which one do you do second. I would not advise you do both at the same time. Unless you have a lot of free time on your hands, and if you have a full-time job, you probably don't.
Yeah, I think firstly I will go to the bigger industry. I mean to the certification companies.
I would do the same.
I already see and have some connection on LinkedIn. I will start how to call it blitz.
Yeah.
Soon to send invitations, sending messages.
And these are guys in these companies that do the certifications, correct?
Laboratory managers.
Laboratory managers. Got it. Yeah. Okay. So you've narrowed down the niche, you've narrowed down the type of the company, you've possibly narrowed down the job title, the person you need to contact. You're at the point now you're trying to figure out what is the problems that they have and how can your skills address those lab managers. Am I correct so far?
Correct.
Okay, good. So now if you are offering or thinking about offering something that is not technical, then you're really offering business services. Does that make sense? In other words, you're offering some other type of service where you're going to fix operational problems, logistical problems, improve productivity, things of that nature, which aren't necessarily technical. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that means that your background as an electronics engineer or electrical engineer can get you in the door as part of your branding and your personal marketing, but that's actually not the skill set you're going to use once you're in the door helping these lab managers.
Makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, in other words, you get in the door, and I bet you've already done this probably either directly or indirectly in LinkedIn, saying, I am an electrical engineer. I'm in your industry. I'm a smart guy like you. Now let's talk about the problems you have in your lab, which is really the problems you have in your business or in this business entity, this business piece in your lab. So now you're right. You're going to have to start. So the first thing that you should do is if you are already in contact with some of these lab managers, and maybe you've already done this, have you asked a few about what their problems are or what their needs are, or have you not gotten that far yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, so that's what you need to do, as many as you can, and you need to construct a very friendly, professional but informal, which I know doesn't make sense, email or message on LinkedIn, and say pretty much what I just said. I'm an electrical engineer just like you. I'm in the industry for X number of years just like you. You need to establish commonality, and then you need to say, I am really curious as to what problems you have or what needs you have in your lab or in your business, however, whatever terminology would work best for that individual person. And those are the two things. Problems. What are the biggest problem or problems you have, or the biggest needs or need you have? And you can either ask it like that, or you could say, what is the biggest problem you have or the biggest need you have? And if you would like, you could do this. It depends on the industry. That might be enough. If you would like, because some guys say, well, they're going to say, why am I asking? You can say, I am starting a be honest, I'm starting a consulting practice, and I'm curious as to the types of problems you have. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Probably, it's not something we need to work together or not. I'm just doing this for my own research. It'd be really helpful. And on top of that, if you can offer some kind of benefit to them, even if it is a gift card at their favorite restaurant or something, and that's just something off the top of my head. But if you can offer something, even something that costs, a little money, $50, $20, that's money well spent if you get 5-6 qualified answers. And
I was thinking, sorry for interrupting.
No, go ahead.
I was thinking about proposition of sending them some technical book, which they can choose.
Yes. If it's a book that would help them in their industry that you know of, you mean?
I was thinking rather about something on the message. I will offer them, hey, I will send you a book which you will pick from Amazon for the price up to $50.
Oh, an Amazon gift card, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Yes. Perfect. That's a better idea than my stupid restaurant idea for your industry. So yes. And just call it an Amazon gift card or whatever. Yes, $50. But you have to qualify it. You have to say, you get this. If you answer these 3 questions, and you're an engineer, so you do this automatically. This is the way I write. I bet this is the way you write. Question number 1, what is your biggest problem? Question number 2, question number 3, And it's a 3 to 5 questions that are numbered. If you answer those 3 questions, I will immediately get you a Amazon gift card. Be really
you mean
helpful.
On the state that's on the opening message?
You could. I've done things like this, yes. You could.
Okay.
If you'd rather not, then you could
Or
have an
establish
opening
some.
message and then a secondary message, a follow-up.
Okay.
But you could, yes, certainly. Did you hear about the example I used? I don't remember if it was one of those two courses. It might have been. Of the consultants that I worked with, where one of them wrote a little book and self-published a little book on what is stuck in your business. And they would mail out the book to 200 people in a given city, and they would get 2 or 3 clients every time they did that. Is that?
Yeah. I heard that.
Yes. So you could, I don't know how much money you have to spend. If you really want to hit this hard, you could actually make a real marketing campaign out of this and do it that way, where you would send this to, 100 people and willing to spend 50 times 100, whatever that is, $5,000 might be too much to get this kind of information with the objective that maybe you actually pull up one or two or three of these labs as clients. You could do that too. You could do, or if that sounds too risky to you, you would do a two-phase operation. First, you'd get the information, 5 people, 10 people, 15 people, gather the information, and then do a bigger marketing campaign where you have an actual offer. I know from talking to lab managers that your problems are generally this and this. I fix that exact problem by doing these 3 things, X, Y, Z.
I was also thinking about something like ask them for interview, gather their answers, collect as a ebook, and later on promise them to send them, hey, I'm doing research. I will send you the answer for the biggest problem in this industry. I will interview X number of people.
And then you provide them with the answers. I did that. I did exactly that about 10 years ago. Yes, in my consulting practice. Correct. And that's a really good one because that gets you right to the bigger names. Gets you right through the gatekeepers. You're actually writing an article. Don't say writing an ebook. Writing a book or writing an article. Don't say ebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Why? Is it not working? Or?
It's not professional sounding. Any moron can write an ebook, is what people think.
Yeah.
You're an author writing a book, or you're a professional X whatever. Come up with some kind of fancy title for yourself, and you're writing an article on XYZ type labs in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interviewing X number of people, and I would love to interview you, and I will give you a complimentary copy of the report. Whatever terminology is used in that industry, report, white paper, I don't know what terminology you would use, but you would know. And then be respectful of their time. Respectful of their time. Excuse me. This will only take 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I will only take 7 minutes of your time. That's it. For example, I just came up with some odd number like that. 10 minutes, 13 minutes. 5 minutes sounds too BS. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, I think pretty much we
that'll
covered
work
that
very well. And the possibilities are decent. They're not wonderful, but they're decent. You would pick up 1 or 2 of those guys as a client.
Later on.
Which, by the way, if that's really what you're going to do, you should also have an actual pitch and an offering ready to go in case they ask about what you do. Well, here's what I do, blah, 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 blah. And here's the pricing structure, blah, 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 blah.
It may be hard on the beginning because I would like to find what's the problem and business problems. Yeah.
Right. That's fine. That's fine. So you have to plan out the phases. In what phases do you do these things? That's fine too. Yes. You're being very careful because you're an engineer.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna make as many mistakes as someone like me who would just go for it. So yes, that's fine. As long as you eventually get to that phase, obviously.
Yeah, we may overlap some.
Yeah, we do. Oh, I can tell we do.
Yeah, well,
because I'm an INTJ and I'm a nerd and I do a lot of spreadsheets. I'm not quite an engineer. Yes,
my type. Yeah, the same as you.
Yeah. There you go. The best combination is to be that kind of guy who also takes a lot of action. Those are the guys who rule the world. There are a lot of engineers who never take action. They're very smart guys. There are a lot of guys who are not engineers and are very chaotic and take action without any planning. The point is to get to the combination of both.
Oh, okay, Caleb. I think the first part is somehow covered.
Good.
I think also I'm aware of my technical skills. Mm-hmm. Could you ask me some questions to uncover skills which may help to solving these business problems?
Yes. What skills have you used in your job? And let's not filter them. Let's not say, well, they're technical or not. So even if they are technical or not, what skills have you used in your job to benefit your employer or to improve your employer's condition?
Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, as I have a spreadsheet full of this information.
I figured you would.
Yeah. But most of them are based off the knowledge of the skills from my company, and this is hard skills.
You mean technical skills? When you say hard skills, what do you mean?
Yeah, technical skills, knowledge skills, and something which I took from university.
Okay. What if you were to delete those or cross those off the list temporarily? What do you have left?
It's okay. Let's start.
And I have some other questions too. Well, let's start with that.
Okay, just quickly. I have camping skills, public speaking because I'm a member of Toastmaster.
How long?
8 months.
Great. Excellent. Okay, good.
So,
what was the first thing you said?
First thing?
You said camping or something like that?
Yeah, camping because I'm interested in camping.
Oh, literally camping. Okay, all right.
Camping tents on wild nature.
Understood. Okay.
I can provide trainings. I did it in my company. Like training in class for 40 plus people.
Perfect. Wonderful. That's very good. Set that aside as a good one. Public speaking and training are both fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
True. When you say training, are you talking about one-on-one training or group training or both?
Group training, like providing classes.
Fantastic, because a lot of engineers could never do anything like that. So great. Very good. Keep going.
I'm interested also in the fitness, like bodyweight training, stretching, mobility.
Okay, good.
Basic skills of audio, video editing. I think I'm a good listener and fast learner.
So I was going to ask about the learning process. Those skills that you're talking about, the technical skills, I am sure you learned the baseline of those skills at university, but the skills that specifically apply to your employer, you learned on the job from your employer, correct?
Exactly.
And my guess is you learned those very quickly and got up to speed very quickly.
Yes, and I did it by myself.
So those are learning skills. I call those assessment skills in terms of the business world. So that means that you have a skill set where you could go into a lab that you've never been to before and assess things very quickly. When I say quick, I mean comparatively quickly. That doesn't mean literally in minutes, maybe in a few days, few weeks, what have you, as compared to someone else.
I'm never thinking about that, but it may be true.
Well, I think you could. I think that's a skill set you have. Whether or not that's a skill set you want to use or advertise, different story. Right now we're brainstorming. But I'm sure that's a skill you have. You could actually do, my guess is you would probably be very good at auditing. I don't mean financial auditing. I mean productivity auditing. Yes, that kind of stuff at a lab.
Okay.
And that's something that's extremely valuable, especially for labs. I've worked with a lot of labs in biotech. Very similar.
And you mean not only official auditing, yeah?
Not only official what?
Auditing, audit. How to say that?
Yes.
Because
I'm not talking about official auditing. Yeah, not financial auditing, process auditing.
Because in my industry, I have a lot of audits. It's if you are in accordance with special norms like ESO, DIN, and so on.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Put that aside as your core skills, auditing.
I think for official auditing, I need to have like some license or something.
Correct. Like that. Often you do. So I'm not talking about that. I am talking about productivity auditing, which I do actually in my consulting practice.
Mm-hmm.
That you could have an entire consulting practice just doing nothing but productivity auditing.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
You can make $500,000 a year plus doing nothing but that for labs. I'm not saying do that, but I'm giving you more ideas.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
That is a hugely valuable skill that labs need.
Okay. Yes. I will put that on my list to ask a question to these lab managers.
Yeah, that is big. Now, some people hate doing that. Some people hate auditing. So you're like, I don't want to do it and be an auditor. Fine. Now, you can also, if you find value in that, that's also, the beauty of auditing is something you can sub out very easily to subcontractors, very inexpensively.
Mm-hmm.
You can charge a lab, $85,000, pay your subcontractors $15,000 and pocket the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, other skills which I have on my list. Not related, but don't judge. I have self-defense kind of skills. I mean, martial arts. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I like that next skill, and as I provided training, I think I'm good at explaining technical problems to not technical people or people from different fields.
Okay. Yes, hugely valuable skill. We have to figure out how to translate that into your niche because these are probably already technical people. But you're right, that is an extremely valuable skill that most engineers do not have. I spent much of my career working with IT nerds, and they're very smart, but they have a lot of trouble communicating with humans. Yes, so that's a very, very valuable skill, particularly if you're going to be doing coaching or one-on-one training. Whether or not that translates to the niche that we're talking about, I don't know, because you're probably already dealing with very technical people. So that's something else you have to think about. But that is a hugely valuable skill.
I'm wondering if this can work the opposite way. I mean, explaining not technical knowledge like psychology or I don't know to technical guys.
Yes, as long as you can match it to a problem or need they have. For example, if your niche is the lab manager needs to pitch his ideas to the CEO, he doesn't know how to do this, or needs to pitch his ideas to prospects or potential clients of his company, and he doesn't know how to do that, then yes. So you have to match that to a very unique and specific need or problem that technical person has.
Okay.
I'm a technical person, and in order to do this in my job or this in my business, I have to communicate to very non-technical people these things. Now, a good example of that are the technical advisors that salespeople use. So when they do high-end sales for very expensive systems, multi-million-dollar systems, the salesperson comes in, there's a junior salesperson, and then he brings in the technical advisor. And he sits next to the salesperson as he pitches the CFO or CEO or VP of sales or what have you. So the technical person can then describe the technical processes when there's technical questions. And so you could train that person, for example.
You mean a salesperson in that situation?
The technical advisor person in that scenario.
Okay.
Technical sales. Yeah.
Got it.
Or you could also, because I've done a little of this myself, not lately, but I've done it, train technical salespeople. That's big money. You're training salespeople, and they're not technicians, but they're technical because they're selling technical items, high margin technical, software systems and things like that, or what have you, and they're selling high-end technical services. They're not technicians, but they're technical people. You train the technical salespeople. You could be a technical coach to salespeople, for example.
Yeah, it may be beneficial. I have some other niche back of my head.
Okay.
But it's on the line. It's not on the
anything
the main screen.
Selling to salespeople is very profitable and very easy to make money comparatively to other things, because sales is the department that all companies throw their money at. Technical departments, they hate spending money, as you probably know.
Yeah.
But the sales department, they will dump truckloads of money on the sales department. So selling anything to salespeople or sales staffs or sales groups is much easier money.
I never think about that.
Yes, that is huge. And I come out of my last job before I started my first company was at Nike, and I was part of the technical staff of their sales department. And boy, do they spend money. But that's not unusual. Companies just dump money on salespeople. So it's very easy to hire yourself out to, including big companies. I train your salespeople on how to do X, Y, and Z. And if you work with me, your sales will go up by whatever, 14%, 22%, blah, 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 because your salespeople will be able to do this and this, whereas they couldn't before. They couldn't communicate these technical topics.
Did you train them on pure technical skills?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was more about fielding technical questions from when they were doing sales calls. That's what I did. Okay. And that was easy money.
So you provide technical training to guys from sales.
Generalized technical training. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So they can better answer technical questions.
Correct. Because that's what happens with technical salespeople. When you're a technical, and I did this when I was selling IT services. When you sit down across the table from a prospect, maybe let's say it's the CEO or the COO of a small, medium-sized company, or maybe one level down, executive VP. You're talking to him. Right next to him is the nerd, the CIO or the head IT guy, and the VP, whoever you're selling to, is interested. But the nerd is like, well, what about this? Well, what about that? He'll throw you technical questions at the salesperson, make the salesperson look stupid. And if the salesperson isn't technically oriented or doesn't have that technical guy sitting next to him, he could look stupid. So that salesperson needs to be able to field those technical questions very quickly and easily, and he needs to be trained to do that. Yeah. If you're the guy training that person or training the technical guy next to him, either one, that's easy money, and you can get into some big companies doing that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, another skill it's not judged. I just have some skill on writing technical instruction or manuals.
Good skill, but very hard to make a lot of money because you're competing with India.
Okay.
Like most technical skills, it's hard to make the big money doing that kind of stuff. You can. It's still a valid skill. It's just hard to plug that into something that makes easy money, high margin money. Because I can go on Upwork right now and hire a guy in India to do that really cheaply, and it'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
But it is a skill.
Good point.
So the way that works for those kinds of skills is what other skills that branch off from that skill that would be a little more specialized. That's the question you ask when you have those kinds of skills. Like when guys say, I'm really good at making websites. Well, that's great, but I can go to Fiverr.com right now and hire a guy. So what other skills from that skill that spawn off that skill that are a little more specialized? And then it may not be a question you can answer right at this moment, but it's something to think about.
But you mean in general on this last topic? Your last sentence, you refer it to my last point, writing technical instruction, on in general?
Yes. In general, when you have a technical skill that a lot of other people do.
Okay.
Including the ability to write technical manuals. Including that. That is a valid, real skill, but in this era of geo-arbitrage and the internet, you have millions of people competing against you who can charge much less than you. So the way around that is, how do you take that skill and spawn off 2 or 3 other skills from that skill set? Maybe you're really good at, I'm trying to give a good example for technical writing, because I don't know much about that. I've worked with a few guys. Maybe you're really good at summarizing complicated technical papers into very simple to understand white papers for less technical people, for example. Now that's much more marketable. And that's just an example off the top of my head. See what I'm saying? Yeah.
So like the example of I forget the name of the guy who provide comic funny animation. He combined the poor drawing skills with poor humor, with pure something. And
are you talking about South Park?
Sorry?
Are you talking about South Park?
No, never mind. It's popular nerd comic, internet comic.
Nerd internet comic. Okay.
Yeah. This example was in the...
Nothing comes to mind.
Yeah.
Dilbert?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Dilbert.
Yeah.
Scott Adams. Yeah.
Yeah, Scott Adams. So he combined several poor skills, let's say, into the one profitable skills.
He did, and what he did correctly, it's been many years since he's done this. I mean, a long time. But back in the 90s when he got started, I was still working in the corporate world when Dilbert came out. He niched. It wasn't just a funny comic with funny characters. It was about characters who worked in a big, giant, soulless corporation that they hated. And it was about workplace problems for those people.
Yeah.
So he was very narrowly niched. He wasn't just writing a funny cartoon, because that'd be stupid. That's why he did well. And he himself, you're right, he himself has admitted he's a terrible artist. Right. He was very niched, and he tapped into a niche that was big, that no one thought was a niche. People who can't stand their corporate jobs working for big, giant, soulless corporations. Right. But you're correct. That's what he did. And he niched.
I also have on my list, I did your task of ask friends of my skills.
Yes, good.
So maybe just go quickly through them.
Yeah, let's do that. How are we doing on time? Yeah, let's do that and let's wrap it up. But yeah, let's go through that.
Okay, so I will go through the list and just stop me if you will find something more to mention. Goals-oriented, good planner, deep problem analysis, teamwork, non-workaholic.
Well, good problem analysis is good. That's my favorite so far. Non-workaholic, I interpret that to mean you have better life balance than a typical engineer.
Probably.
Which is fine if you're going to be a coach. It doesn't really help you as a consultant.
Okay. On-time task completion, analytical thinking, creativity, proactive, honesty, calmness, working under stress, cold-blooded, non-confrontational, next rant, logical and analytical approach, intelligence, hard to out-talk.
What?
Dominant.
What's the last one?
Hard to out-talk. I mean, what my friend mean is I'm good not on arguing, but providing good arguments.
Oh, I see.
Logical.
Okay. Yes. Several of these things, the commonality that comes out in all of these things to me, is that you are an engineer that works very well with humans. And that goes back to your training ability, your presentation ability, your public speaking ability. There is really something there for you. And you could apply that to a number of different places. You're able to talk to human beings. A lot of those things you listed. You're able to talk to human beings in a very non-threatening and normal and productive way, which again, most engineers cannot do. Most engineers are horrible at that. By the way, that's what you and I have in common, because that's how I got started. I was a nerd, but I could really communicate with people.
Yeah. Okay.
So that leans in the direction of consulting or coaching, either one. So this is all, you're in the right place. This is validating the ideas we've talked about over the last half an hour.
Should I go till the end of the list? It's like 8 more items.
Sure, go ahead. Sure.
Dominant, good for leadership, planning, openness, persistence, to the point, goals-oriented, keeping commitments, well prepared for tasks, analytical thinking, independence, planning, some more which I forget what is the English. Okay, that would be all.
Well, you've got two things that keep repeating: the usual analytical thinker or that kind of stuff, which we would expect from someone your personality and your background, and then the social aspect. It's the same thing. So there's nothing earth-shattering in there. It is reinforcing your ideas. Now I'm much more confident after you read that you should be a consultant or a coach, and it should be something focused on where you're talking to people. Training or evaluating or auditing, something like that, where you're talking to a lot of people, or coordinating on the higher end with people who are these lab managers, something more hands-on. That doesn't mean you're doing the work. You can hire out people to do the technical work. You could sub all that out. So this is just a reinforcement, which is good, because most engineers, when they ask their friends, what am I good at, are not going to get most of those answers. They're going to get, you're a logical thinker and you're aggressive and you're a very good planner. You're going to get the usual engineer stuff.
Maybe because they don't have friends.
Well, yes, or that. Yeah. Engineers usually have friends, but they're like their wife and then their nerdy friend, and that's about it. Right. Right, correct. So to me, that's just a validation of the ideas that you're already talking about. Yeah. That means you're on that is a reinforcement. It means you're on the right track.
Cool.
But you're in a really good place. You're almost there. Once you start, and we've already talked about the plan to contact these lab managers. Once you start executing on that, the rest is going to be very easy. You've covered all the hard stuff. You've got your niche, and I think you're pretty clear on what you're good at.
What helped me, it's in one of your materials, you said that you don't have to serve the exact thing in which I'm doing right now, but something on the side, yeah?
Don't have to serve the exact...
What I mean, if I'm doing technical work in my job, I don't need to do the same as a consultant. I can do something on the side.
Correct, nor should you, in my opinion, because you could make more money doing something non-technical, which is kind of the theme of this call. You are going to do something in the technical fields with technical people, and you're a technical person, but the service you're going to offer, in my opinion, should be something that is not quite 100% technical. Auditing, advising, training, improving, something like that. Because that pays more than technical work. In terms of being a consultant and making a 6-figure location-dependent income, which I talk about in that course, that's what pays that. An engineer is a guy who makes $80,000 a year. I mean, you adjust for Polish currency, but an engineer is a guy who went to college and makes $80,000 a year, $90,000, maybe 110, and that's it. That's all he's ever going to make. A consultant makes whatever he wants, which is far beyond those numbers, because he's offering something that is much more valuable than technical service. So you're right. If I'm understanding what you're saying, you're right. Correct. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, I think we can wrap up.
This is fantastic. I hope this has helped.
Yeah.
You're almost there. You're in a really good place. You're in a better place than most guys I talk to at this stage.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Very welcome. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.